We are live on Unblocked Live. This is the Anti-Polarization Podcast. My guest today is Jairo. He is the organizer of the now infamous We Spa protest, because if you look at hashtag We Spa protest all over Twitter, you'll see videos of what went down on Saturday in Los Angeles. Jairo is the organizer of a conservative protest. Conservatives showing up to join him were attacked. We're going to get the full story about what happened and what was the protest that never really was. Jairo is my guest. Jairo, thank you for joining us on Unblocked
Hi,
Live.
hey everyone.
This is the Anti-Polarization Podcast. We talk to everybody and make sure everybody has a voice. Now, it felt that you did not have a voice last Saturday, in the sense that you tried to hold a conservative rally or protest and you were shut down in the sense that anybody arriving, I saw, I was there, I shot a lot of video of people having their signs snatched, being attacked unilaterally by the Black Bloc, a group called SoCal Antifa on Twitter, mobilized an account that's just 2 months old to go after you all. Now, were you expecting that? How prepared were you? And we're going to try to also ask about your point of view, your views in this discussion, and why you decided to organize this protest. But first of all, were you surprised by what happened last Saturday in Los Angeles, in Koreatown?
I knew they were coming. I was very shocked at what I saw. I was more shocked that afterwards, when I went home and I saw the news, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know it was that bad. I saw some stuff that I didn't even know. I heard some stuff over there, and then I was like, oh my goodness. And I saw the news and I was like, oh, okay.
Now, did you leave, as far as the time that you were there? From the video, I see that you arrive around after 9:30. Is that correct? More like 9:40? Is that when you arrived to the protest opposite the We Spa?
Yeah, I was supposed to be there at 9 a.m. I got there a little bit late. I got on the train. I got on the train with my bag, my signs. I was ready to go. And right when I got on the train, somebody that was going to the We Spa protest was there, and they recognized me. And I recognized him because I seen him before. I was like, "Oh, you're going to the We Spa?" He's like, "Yeah, you're going there." And then I was like, "Okay." And we sat down next to each other. And then we got off the train in Koreatown. And then literally we were walking over there. When we were walking over there, they were already yelling at us. There's two people dressed in black across the street from us. I don't know how they recognized us, how they recognized me, or whatever was going on. But they were yelling some stuff. And I was just like, just ignore them, just ignore them. And I was just like, and I called my friend. I was like, "Where are you? What's going on?" He's like, "I'm over here on Respawn." And I was like, "They're already yelling at us. I don't know what these people across the street." And then he told me where they were at. And then we went over there. And then I took the wrong street. And I went the street behind Respawn. And then I thought I was like, wait, this is the wrong way. And then so I went and through the alley that's in Respawn. And then when I was going through the alley, I saw a crowd of people. And in the parking lot, I saw people, the security guards, people dressed in black and, all that, sunglasses. I saw them in the parking lot, like talking to each other, looking, and like they were trying to figure out. And I was like, oh, hell no. And then I walked across the street and I talked to my friend. I saw him. I was like, what's going on? What did we do? And I was so confused and shocked. I didn't see all these people. It looked like it was already set to go. They were already ready to go. It was already 9:30. And I was just like, what in the world? And then, yeah, I called my friend Sarah Stevens, who's running for governor. The whole event, it was going to be a Sarah Stevens event. She was running for governor. It was going to be a Sarah Stevens event. We're going to have a podium. We had speakers set up.
So you're talking about in the recall of Gavin Newsom. She's running as a Republican. Is that?
Yeah, she's a Republican running for governor in the recall election. Hopefully we get Governor Newsom recalled. And so this is going to be an event for her. And we promoted it online. Sarah Stevens, people were coming, and she was going to speak, and we had speakers set up. My friend was going to speak. This girl who was in there in the spa, she was going to speak. The girl somebody was going to speak who was in the spa. There, we had a story, and she was going to speak in the podium. And so, back to where I was. I was telling my friend what we do. Yeah.
So wait, let's just get to where you arrived. Now, I've seen the video in which you and the Black Bloc, these SoCal Antifa folks who showed up in head to toe, dressed in black, to stop you. I've seen that video. What happens first? Do they say something to you? Do they? How do they interact with you? How do they approach
They're
you?
all yelling at me across the street. Across the street, there's a, I take my signs out, and then I have a sign. I think the first one says "Trans activism erases women's rights." No, it said "Change the law." It said "Change the law." And then I was trying to tape. I pulled out tape from my bag. I was trying. The tape was stuck together. I was trying, and they were making fun of me because I couldn't take the tape off. And then they were like, "Oh, you can't even take the tape off. Oh, you have earrings. Oh," and like, "Oh, are you indigenous? Are you indigenous?" And then they were just like hollering at me across the street, saying stuff. And then they were saying I'm skinny. Oh, that skinny guy. They were just like taunting me from across the street. They were so evil, so fucking, so evil.
Well,
And they were,
so sorry. We're gonna get to what your sign said. We're gonna get to how you feel about them. I know you're upset because they did. I've seen that video, and that video, if you're watching on Twitter, is at the top of my page of when they essentially have you down on the ground and are kicking you on the sidewalk in Koreatown. We're going to talk about that, but walk me through, how do you get into physical contact with them? They come across the street to you. You're setting up your signs. Tell me what happens.
there's a trans girl, the first trans girl. I'm gonna call her out right now.
Well, before you, so you're
This one.
saying somebody who's on, you see, so somebody who's on, I can't see. It's okay. You can describe, you can just describe, you can use your words and describe
Real
what,
Jamie Penn on
okay.
Instagram.
So she is, I know who you're talking about because she had a red hat on. Yes. A big red hat. And, what happens? Do you interact with her?
She had like a little blue rainbow trans dress, and no, I guess she came up and she took my sign, or I'm not sure if it was her. Somebody came up and took my sign. That one that said, I think it said wee wee spa, and then she came, somebody, I think it was Antifa. I was really distracted. They came and took it. And I think she grabbed it and ripped it up. There's a picture of her grabbing it, ripping it up, and that was the first one, and I was really mad, like, because no one's ever ripped up my sign before. Like, I mean, I think it happened one time at January 6th. No, that wasn't me. There was a whole bunch of stuff that happened, but I think that did happen one time before. But anyways, they ripped up my suit, and I was really mad. And then I had like a bunch more in my bag, and so I pulled out another one. I think it said, the other one said like trans activism erases women's right, and I pulled out, and I was just like this. And they're like boo boo, and like trans activism is women's rights, and I was holding that. And then a guy in black, the guy on video came up, took my bag. I mean, took the rest of my signs out of my bag, ripped it up. And then you see the video where I get beaten up by like 5 of them. And I really thought I was going to die. That's never happened before. No ball, and there's a bunch of them kicking me.
Now, there's no excuse for the response and the use of force. You're skipping something in the video, though. At one point, do you grab pepper spray or anything and point it at them, or what are you doing in the video?
Yes. So he comes, takes up my bag and everything. They're all coming up and doing stuff, you know. So I'm like, so I get my spray out, because that's all my stuff. That one really upset me when they ripped it up. And I get my spray out and I pull it out, and I don't even spray him. I just pull it out to show it to him. Basically in the video, I'm like back away from me, because what else am I supposed to do? They just let them come up and do stuff like they're gonna. If it wasn't, I wasn't expecting. I didn't know that was gonna happen. They've come to our events one other time before. They were physical, but it wasn't like this. This was insane. And so yeah.
So Hira, so I saw that you presented was it pepper spray?
Yeah, it was pepper spray. I think I have it here somewhere, but it's pepper spray.
Okay. So you presented to it. I zoomed in on the video. I could not see any pepper spray emitted, but did you spray it or did you hold it?
I was holding it, and then whenever they start boom boom boom, I go like this and I try to spray from behind me, because what else am I supposed to do? And then I get him, but then I get myself too, and I was kind of.
Okay, no, and I do see that part in the video, but so I just want to be very clear. They take the signs, you present the pepper spray, you show it as you did, and then they attack you. And then when when you were had it from behind, you did actually spray at that point. Is that correct? Okay, when
Yes.
they were from behind.
Hmm.
No, you and you know, you guys, the video is on my Twitter. If you're not on my Twitter, at Jaylee Quinn is my Twitter, and you can see that video there. Now, what happens after that? Go ahead.
I want to say I just came from the police station right now, and I filed a police report, and they have a report, and they got the guy that threw me down. They got his description. They got all their descriptions, and they're gonna look for them. They're gonna put them on a watch list or something, and they're gonna look for them at these protests and rallies and stuff. They're gonna be on the lookout for these people. So if you got attacked, go report them. If it's on video, go report them, so they can have them on video and know who they look, what they look like, and what they act like, so we could try to know who they stop these people, because they've done it before.
Now, did everybody have a mask though? How hard is it to identify
They were
people if
all
they?
they were all messed up, covered up, trying to hide themselves. But we did get a description.
I see. I
No,
see.
some of them were kind of showing, parts of them.
Okay. Well, now you've clarified a lot about what happened when you first got there, and I've been around groups. This was specifically a group called SoCal Antifa that had organized newly 2 months ago on Twitter, and by a new account, I mean, and they specifically set up initially a 10 a.m. call and then a 9 a.m. call to preempt your 11 a.m. protest. In other words, they on Twitter tried to get everybody out at 10 a.m. and then 9 a.m. to make sure that they were there before you. Now, I got there. By the time I got there, it was exactly when was happening, and they already had all four corners locked down soon after of where the Wi Spa is. Now, for those who do not know what this quote unquote controversy is in regarding, there was a viral video in which a trans woman with male genitalia was using the women's side of the public bathing spa. Now, for those who do not know, I just want to give some background information. Korean spa is much like Japanese onsen or public bathing, public bathhouses where people bathe publicly. I don't know, was that something that you were aware of? What brought you to this issue?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, in other words, these are public spas, and there was a viral video about this, but why this viral video? Why did you decide to organize a protest, and the candidate that you were coordinating with? Why did you choose this event?
This one, well, let me give you back. So we were protesting Tin Horn Flats for like 2-3 months, and it was going on. And so I was kind of a little bit like, let's go, just move somewhere else. Let's do something else. Let's go protest something else. We could fight somewhere else. Keep this fight going somewhere else. And that is what motivated me to like start another protest somewhere else.
And when
And
you say when you say sorry, when you say keep this fight going, what is the fight against specifically, or what is the fight for that you're talking about?
the tyranny, all of this, the
Tyranny.
lockdowns, save our children, masks.
So conservative. You're talking about conservative or right wing issues as a whole
Yes.
that you consider. So you've been active in the protest community. Tin Horn Flats, for those who do not know, in Los Angeles, in the Valley, was a bar and restaurant that was forced to close. It refused to close, and there were lots of demonstrations surrounding it because of the refusal to shut down. And eventually, I believe the health department shut them down and put them out of business. Is that correct? Is that an accurate description
Yeah,
of what
something like
happened?
that. And then the ex-wife of the owner owns the building, and she evicted everybody and some type
Okay.
of family drama. And I was just like, okay, hold up, let's go fight somewhere else, because this is like, I don't want to be in people's family drama.
Now, when you say fight, what do you mean by fight? Do you
Fight the
mean
tyranny. Fight
fight the
these people
tyrant?
trying to shut everything down, trying to own us, trying to control everything. And then yes,
Now, should that fighting be physical in your
no,
opinion?
not physical. Fighting like protesting, free speech. Okay, no, we didn't fight nobody. This is the first time I got crazy. We're not like fighting people. We showed up. There was preachers that showed up. There was like families, a wife and a husband showing up, and they got attacked. I'm showing up. I'm a nice person. I know some of these people. I'm nice to them, and they attack me.
Okay, now I just want to take people through. So you were the first one who was physically attacked. In the video, we see you on the ground. About 4 or 5 guys are kicking you. And if people don't know, a security guard comes over who's in a black tie security guard who I believe was hired by WeSpa to protect WeSpa specifically. When I got there, I saw that the eastern side of WeSpa, there's a little side street there, and there were security guards by the parking lot who were black tie security guards. Was that fellow in the black tie that you see in the video a security guard that came over from across the street from the WeSpa?
I think so.
Yeah, that
I saw them in the parking lot.
some people have asked, well, who was that guy in the black tie? And that's how I've explained it. As I spoke to them and I asked if the owner was around so I could get an interview, but they told me no. And interestingly, I spoke to the woman that you're talking about who took your signs at the beginning as well, who says that. And I tried to I tried to push her on a couple of these issues, and now I see she wasn't being exactly honest with me when I spoke to her that day on Saturday, and I'll address that a little later. But let's go a little further. Okay, so you get attacked. At that point, the security guard comes over, and you're able to get away. Correct? This is at 9:44 a.m. is my understanding. Does that sound accurate to you? That's what was reported to me.
I mean, yeah, I was trying to stay. I was just like, get away from me. I was trying to do our protest, and then the security guards they were like, go, 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 and then I went around the corner, and then I was like, what the hell? I was with my friend, and then I recorded a video, and I was like, look what they did to me, oh man! And then I called my friend Sarah Stevens. I was like, they just attacked me. What the hell? And then she's like, we're coming right now, we're coming, because they were trying to park their car. But they couldn't because they were getting harassed by people saying they're going to slash their tires. They were trying to talk to the police. The police wouldn't really help us. And then so they were just like, we're coming. And they came, they pulled up. I showed them what happened. And then we got in the car because they were around the corner. They were gathering. They were coming and they were just like looking, where'd he go? Yes, we got in the car and we drove off. And then I filmed them. I was like, look what's going on. And we see all of them. There's so many people. They were crazy.
Now, so if people don't know what happens then in the video timestamp closer to 10:30, the fellow in the blue t-shirt, he was a preacher or was identified online as a preacher. He had a blue shirt. He arrives. You later see him in photos with blood all over him. This fellow arrives, and the first thing I see in the video, my eyewitness, I was on the opposite side of the street, and I was actually chatting with some other professional reporters. There weren't that many, but there were like 2 or 3, and I was chatting with them. We were just kind of discussing. They were telling me, because I wasn't an eyewitness to the attack on you, but they were telling me about it. And I was like, wow, already? And they were like, yeah, it was right before 10 a.m., which was when I got there. Now, what happens is I see the mob mobilizing. The Black Bloc comes together. This is on the south side of Wilshire, near Rampart. And what happens is they see the man in the blue shirt, and they all go after him. And there's a SoCal Antifa aligned fellow who's a bigger fellow in a green shirt, and he's the first one that I saw to push the man in the blue. There's also 2 Hispanic evangelicals types, because I'll call them that because they had Jesus signs and so forth. They were religious, right? It seemed. And the 2 Hispanic evangelicals in my video are the ones that get thrown to the curb, beaten. Then the other Hispanic evangelical, the second one, tries to intervene, a younger guy. The first guy had his sunglasses bashed out, and you see him bloodied on the sidewalk of Wilshire, the south side of Wilshire. Then the younger guy tries to intervene, and then they push him. The same guy with the green shirt, he's a kind of heavy-set dude, pushes the younger evangelical to the ground. That's my video. Now, something happens right after that, which changes everything. Because up until this point, up until 10:30 a.m., it has always been the leftists, they self-identify as leftist radicals, attacking those who are coming to protest. Something changes right at about 10:30. Right next to me, a Antifa aligned press guy who has a big black helmet gets whacked with a club. It looks like a small rod or pipe by a man in a flannel shirt and a hat that says Patriot on the back. I'm standing right next to him when this happens. That man then retreats and does like a what's up dance or something, or rather in the middle of Wilshire. And you are standing right next to him in my video. So this was this retaliation? What happened here?
What do you mean?
Why did the man in the flannel shirt hit the press guy with a club? It was a guy in a helmet. Thank God he was protected, but still, he was clubbed on the head by the guy in the flannel shirt. Was this retaliation about what happened to you? You know, you just said you don't advocate violence. What happened? You know, because part of what I'm trying to understand is how this violence escalates, how it starts, but also how it continues. Hello? Are you there? Did I lose him? Hello? Hello? It looks like, you know, we didn't even get to ask about his views, about why. Let's see if he reconnects with us. I hope he does. But I was asking him the most difficult question, which is how the violence continued. And it looks like we've lost him. And he's here. We're getting him on. He is calling me. Let me see. 1 second. Okay. So you're on speaker now. You're on speaker.
I just lost signal. I'm trying to get back on. This Wi-Fi is so horrible. I don't know.
It's no problem. Let me. Okay.
They don't ever fix anything in this building.
Yeah. Okay. So this it was. Perhaps, but okay, so we got you back. I just want to ask, how do you, this is an important question because I was afraid I lost you, and I would be remiss if I didn't get a chance
I'm
to.
trying to get back on. Can I get back on?
Yeah, sure, you can try to.
You're not gonna mess this up. I'm trying to get back on.
Can I just ask you one question before you go? It's a different question, which is how do you feel about trans rights?
I'm here.
Oh, hello?
I'm here. It says enter studio. It says I'm
Okay, let me badge you back in.
I'm so sorry. These people, they don't
Okay,
fix
no worries.
anything, and this has to be no.
No worries, no worries. We got you back, and I'm glad. I just want to change the subject for a second. Now, when I ask you, how do you feel about trans rights and the rights for trans people?
I'm all for trans rights. Go do your thing, but we need separate facilities. We need separate facilities. We cannot have these issues going on and on and on and on and on. I know a person who was in rehab as trans, and then they had a roommate who was a girl, and that girl lied and said that the trans person was masturbating naked in the room, even though she wasn't naked. She was just not wearing a wig and sleeping, and that person was just unhappy that they had a trans person in there. So if they had separate facilities, then there would not be those issues. We would not have these people lying and saying that trans people are doing stuff.
Sorry, I just want to clarify. You were saying that you were speaking of an anecdote in which two roommates were not getting along. One was trans and one wasn't. And but it sounds like in your anecdote, it was the friend that was being unfair to the trans person.
It wasn't. It was just a random roommate that the rehab that trans person, and then The real female went to the rehab workers and lied and said that the trans person was masturbating in the room, and the trans person got in trouble,
Okay.
and that they almost got kicked out. And so if they had separate facilities, that would not have happened.
I just want to correct you. I mean, I just want to correct you. You're saying the one who's born biologically female, and I'm not even sure if that's the correct terminology. There's so many terms these days.
A
It
cisgender
gets long.
girl.
But I do want to say that you're saying that the two did not get along. It's an anecdotal story, but it sounds like in that story that you told, it's the roommate that was being what they would say, and this gets thrown around a lot, transphobic. Which, and the reason that we have these conversations, and by the way, my guest tomorrow is trans, a conservative trans activist. My guest tomorrow at 1 p.m. Her name is Erin. And there's a reason.com article in which she talks about being up in Portland during it because the Antifa turned on her, at one point. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when we talk about, and this is, I'll say one thing about the Antifa group. I was there, and I saw maybe, I know I saw 3 trans individuals who were at that protest on the radical leftist side, but the majority of people were Black Bloc Antifa. So even though it was an Antifa organized protest, and I did not see widespread representation from the trans community. And I want to make that very clear because I think that actually their actions does, in my personal opinion, does more harm for trans rights than anything because they were not representative in their majority numbers of the trans community. They just simply were not, and nobody among them can. I invite them to come in and discuss this with me and debate this with me, and I will prove you 100% wrong if you try to tell me that I'm not being honest in my description of what that was. That was a SoCal Antifa organized protest that was set on violence from the beginning. Now, for you to flash the pepper spray, it's not something I would have done. Why did you think it was important to do that at that moment? Do you regret that at all?
I don't regret. No, what am I supposed to do? I'm not gonna go punching nobody. I'm protecting myself. It's self-defense, and I didn't even attack anybody. That was just a warning, like back away from me. I didn't spray him. He knew. He saw I didn't spray him. He would have just been like that. But he saw I didn't spray him, but instead he went like, "Oh, he didn't spray me." And so yeah.
But here's the thing, Hira. I will say this. In the video, you're having this conflict. He steals your sign. You go all the way back to your bag, and then you return to him. So I just,
Look, my pepper spray.
Right, with your pepper spray. So I know it's all happening really fast, and I don't want.
He wasn't going to stop. He was going to come back for another one. I had to show him I have this. Don't come back.
Right, but I'm just saying. Do you think that would have that had any role in escalating that you got your pepper spray?
No. What escalated was him going across the street. That was what escalated anything. Was him going across the street and getting physical. Okay, I didn't do anything wrong. These people were the ones that acted wrong and did everything wrong. They weren't even supposed to show up. Don't show up to an event that you're not invited to and attack everybody and then act like it's your own event.
Well, the way that these streets go is they belong to everybody, and this is what our country hasn't figured out yet, which is how we can have a discussion. Now, on the actual discussion point, I actually agree with you. Well, I'm for trans rights as well. I'm someone who has been in the arts and film. I've been around trans artists, a long time, and so I support trans rights. Now, that said, there's a cultural component here. In Japanese and Korean public baths, you separate people by their, now we don't have to say gender. We can say genitalia, that people of like genitalia stay on one side and others of the like genitalia stay on another. That's just something that's traditional, and we could talk about it in regards to traditional Western culture, but I'm talking specifically about Eastern culture, about Korean and Japanese public baths, because you're not just dressing and getting changed. I don't know if do people understand how a Korean spa works. Do you know the
I've,
spa at
I've,
all?
I've, yes, I do. I've seen pictures. I've seen videos. I have two friends actually who've been there, and they've been telling me some stuff, how they've gone. Can I read you something somebody said? Because this is
Sure,
kind of important. This is kind of important. Okay, this is
sure.
the person who used to go to the who used to go. I'm gonna give you read you two people who used to go there, and tell you what they said.
Okay. And thank you, everybody, for your comments. We had some technical difficulties earlier, and we're going to still try to get through this. And feel free to ask any questions as well. And I appreciate the positive comments about being even-handed in this conversation. This is an even-handed conversation, so if anybody has any challenging questions or counterpoint, you're welcome to ask those questions. That's what Unblocked Podcast is all about. So, Jairo, go ahead and read the comment. Is this a comment that was made for on like a Yelp or
This is my friend
publicly?
on Telegram
Okay.
who used to go there, and he's okay. Some patriots been asking about Wiener Spa, so pretty much used to be a Korean only place that was pretty clean and swanky. Some guys would go there to meet girls and would end up getting married. Parentheses, Koreans were very conservative community before all of the brainwashing and MSM and liberal agendas since the Husan administration, end parentheses. So anyways, liberal assholes started coming, and with them came lots of gays, and they started having sex in the men's area. And from there, gentrification and white liberals caused that.
Wait. Okay. So I'm going to
Sorry,
stop you for a sec. I'm going to stop you for a sec.
can I finish
Is
reading?
this some? Wait. Is this somebody you know, or is this
Yeah,
just a random
my
comment?
friend. This is on
So
a
this is a
Telegram
friend.
group I'm in.
So this is something that you could follow up with your friend. Go ahead.
Mhm.
Continue
Where was
reading.
it? And for the gentrification and white liberals caused that stories on progressive rags at like LA Weekly, and from there, community activists, he had that, started giving out day passes to drug addicts and the homeless, so it became this nasty drug infested bacteria filled den, and I don't know why anyone would bring their family there. The left ruins everything.
Okay.
That's from somebody who used to go there.
I'm going to challenge that because I've gone to Wii Spa. I've gone to Wii Spa a lot actually because I just culturally I've been to public baths even when I was a kid and a teenager. So it's something that I'm used to.
I have another one.
Okay, wait. Well, I don't want to hear it from other people. I'm here to talk to you. So you can tell me what the issue might be that sometimes rumors and other because the fundamental issue about this viral video, I think most people agree that people should be separated by their genitalia, especially when it's a family spa and you have kids and teenagers there. So if you have teenage girls that are on one side and young girls, I understand that mothers, they don't have to be called trans exclusionary and they don't have to be labeled bigots or transphobia. I understand a natural desire for their kids and young women to be on a separate side from those who have male genitalia, a penis. There's a reason that in society, in some spaces, we do separate by specifically our private parts. So that if the discussion was just about that, I think a majority of people would actually just agree. But then it becomes about all these other things. When it becomes about hashtags save our children, one couple had a sign about pedophilia. Now they got attacked, and they shouldn't be attacked. In my opinion, I'm about free speech and discussion. They should be able to voice their view without being, pushed around and brought to tears. The young woman was crying, when I interviewed her, and she said, "No, we support trans rights. We're very open-minded." Well, if they support trans rights, I support them too. And most of the people that were there, I think, don't. Now, some of the evangelicals might not. They just might not, and that's the type of people that sometimes come. But when the rhetoric becomes so heated, and we're talking about liberals and that there's sex happening in the bathroom. Now, I mean, I can't verify anything of that. I don't have any record of any unlawful, and lewd behavior is unlawful because the laws do not protect lewd behavior. There's a difference between a somebody who is changing or bathing and then somebody who is participating in a lewd act. We have no evidence of a lewd act being committed or a police report or anything. So I know your friend is saying that, but that I'm not sure that that's helpful to
in the
go
gay
into that.
community. In the gay community, that is like an unsaid thing. You go to spas and stuff, and you hook up. That's what they do. I had a friend, not a friend, years
Wait,
ago.
so I want to stay away from generalizations. I know I'm not born yesterday. Yes, I know that happens and that has happened, and it's for individual businesses to make sure that doesn't, or to make sure it's reported if it does. Look, I used to live, I've lived in different neighborhoods, and I've been, hit on
They do it at
so
gyms
forth.
too. Gyms. I saw it happen at
Gyms.
24-hour fitness before in the shower. They do it there at gyms.
I
For sure. I've
I
seen it.
I have a very uncomfortable story about being at Gold's Gym in Hollywood, and the person who was running the gym indicated, I will just say that this was years ago, that this was quote unquote somehow acceptable, and I was I was your age at the time, and I think I was kind of like weirded out by it. Look, I know that happens, but we're getting off the subject, because that's you're talking about something that is, first of all, we're getting way off track, in my opinion, because the video that went viral and the issue that I just articulated was separation in regards to a family spa. We're not talking about the gym that I had an uncomfortable experience with myself in
But
Hollywood.
that's what happens. I'm just an example of the unsaid stuff that the gays do. Okay, you go to spas.
But again, you're generalizing, and that in my opinion is perpetuating.
I bet you if I look and stuff, I could find somebody that's had a story of something like that they've done it. Or something. I could get on something and find something. I could make a fake account on Grindr and try to meet somebody on there or something.
But do you understand that that's not representative of a whole community? One person's actions. Look, I've had uncomfortable situations. I've said this on other podcasts. This is a different thing about violence. I've been attacked by every ethnicity that's out there. As a kid, I was jumped. As an adult, I've been jumped in different situations by every ethnicity that is out there, literally. So I don't see it. If I got jumped that first time and it was by a certain ethnicity, I wouldn't say, well, that's what the whatevers do. I don't apply.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what they do. I'm not saying they go to a spa and they have sex there, but that is a possibility, and that is, anyways.
I'm just saying that
they still have separate facilities for trans people at WeSpa. If they really want to go, if they really want to love them over there, go give them their own space, okay? And let them go there.
So that's your proposition. Now the law, that's your opinion. I disagree with it, but that's your opinion. And look, we're having
the law needs to change the law.
The law that they're talking about, because it was on one of the flyers in regards to the candidate that you mentioned, was talking about changing a specific law in the California State
Code 51B. I'm pretty sure they took my flyer down.
Yeah, 51B. Now, 51B protects everybody's right to use public facilities without discrimination. That's a California state law. Now, if you are saying that you want that law changed, what specifically would you change about it?
We just need to be more inclusive, okay, and give them their own space and not put them at risk to be accused of stuff. Like my friend who was in rehab was accused of jacking off in the room just because she said she was trans and the person was transphobic, okay? They just need to have their own space, avoid all these issues, okay? California is really crazy. We need to just go to California and give them their own space now.
Okay, and I mean that would, that would require businesses to reconfigure. A business like WeSpa would then be required by law to reconfigure their space to accommodate a third changing room.
That's just what they have to do now. That's
Okay,
just what
I
has to
mean,
happen.
I quite frankly, I disagree with that because I don't believe in businesses being mandated to do certain
Well, they're
things.
being mandated to have these people go and harass people naked, and
Well,
then
wait a
nothing
second.
happens
We
because this person who
Well, we don't
the
know about that there's been
this,
any harassment. We don't know that there's been harassment. I mean, look,
okay, it's
I'm saying you have an issue here and you're dialing it up here, but I don't know that anybody's been harassed at the Wii Spa.
it's subtle harassment. Okay, they go in naked. Like, oh, you can't do anything to me. The law isn't protect me. I'm trans.
Well,
Okay,
okay, but I mean,
they
you're playing you're playing out something that you're imagining just now. I mean, do you know that that has happened? Do we
story,
have?
but
I'm trying to get. I don't have anything on record, even that this person was flaunting. Is you were just kind
they
of
weren't
performing.
flaunting it, but they were being very open about it. I have something else I want to say.
Okay.
I was at the beach like a month ago, and I was at like a trans funeral, okay? And there were some trans people. We went on the beach, and one of the trans people took off everything, fully boobs out, everything on the beach, Santa Monica. And there's kids over there, okay? So these people, that is what. Can I call her out? Okay, no, I can't. The CEO of Trans Latina. CEO
Okay.
of Trans. She was on Infowars. Bambi. She was fully bras, boobs out on the beach. Okay, she was on Infowars. Bambi. She runs Trans Latina CEO. Boobs out on the beach, and yeah, that is what they do. And they want you to just abide to them.
And you know this person, or I'm just
I
curious.
know her. I know
Okay,
her.
so you
I
know a
know.
lot of
I
trans
know a
people.
lot of them.
Okay, and do you guys get along?
Yes, yes. They didn't know I was doing this, but I don't know if they don't. But yes,
Interesting.
I promise
I'm.
you.
I mean, no, no. I'll be honest. You seem a little bit more knowledgeable than I see. I guess I would say is that there is a political benefit in generalizing. If you can generalize a situation, then that gets people agitated and so forth. Now, I am a little bit more sober when it comes to stuff like this. I think if you get down to the real part of the issue that everybody would agree on, is that we ask that people of as a society that especially when young people are present, you talked about the beach or you talk about a family spa, that people of like genitalia stay on respective sides, and that is a matter of gender boundaries for women, for children, and so forth. Now what happens is the rhetoric gets pumped up. All of a sudden you have, instead of having the discussion we're having right now about gender boundaries, you have people with signs that say pedophilia, save the children. All of a sudden, it gets linked to something, and then you're speaking in generalizations. And I disagree with you on that. I don't think I'm not going to attack you and throw you to the ground and so forth. But it seems that the disagreement that we have is when everything gets heated up to a level where we're not even talking about the actual thing and the actual issue that brought us here to this discussion in the first place. That's my opinion. I think it's a simpler
We
issue.
are talking about it.
I know, but I'm just saying that all of this rhetoric gets pumped up, emotions get high, we start generalizing, and we get further away from the solution, which is the solution being that most people in a democracy, if we took a vote or a poll, are likely to say that folks of same genitalia should stay together in regards to a public family bathing space. I think that what I said was a reasonable way of framing it. But once we get into a conversation where we're just generalizing and saying, well, that's what they do, then all of a sudden, then things just get dialed up to 11. People are angry. It's about, you're phobic this, or you don't support these rights. I think that there's a way to address everybody's rights and have a calm, sober conversation about all this. Now, I do need to go back. Before you cut out the first time, we were talking about the first 3 assaults were clearly, by the evidence in the timeline, the Black Bloc, the SoCal Antifa Black Bloc, beating up not 1, not 2, but 3 Hispanic men who came to protest. Now, regardless of whether they and you agree or not, or you and I agree or not, you have a right to the public space. You have a right to show up and protest. They have a right to counter-protest. What I saw and what I documented at 10:30 a.m., 10:28 by the stamp on my phone, was not counter-protest. It was a mob physically beating up 2, first one Latino man, older guy with a mustache, was all bloodied, and you see him with just one sunglass lens as he gets back up. And I described the situation where the kid, the younger Latino fellow, gets in the way to try to protect him, and then he gets thrown to the ground. And it's the same guy with a green shirt who was really kind of leading a lot of this. He also had an anarchist tattoo, which I recognize, which is of a bird, a petrel. It's called a storm petrel. It's a bird that if we want to go really deep into to that kind of leftist iconography, but that's neither here or there. What happens next, as I said, is I'm standing there, and the man next to me on my left has a big black helmet and is all in black, and he gets whacked in the head. And the guy with the flannel shirt and the Patriot hat retreats into the middle of the street and is doing a kind of, what's up dance, as I said. You said that you decry violence. Do you denounce that violence that happened right next to you?
Yes, I don't think he should have done that, but I didn't tell him. I didn't tell anybody to go do anything. I didn't agree with that. I didn't like that, but I'm not mad at nobody for doing that. I'm just like, just don't do it anymore.
Do you think there's a responsibility that you have as the organizer of a protest if a friend or associate or somebody shows up with a club? Do you think you have a responsibility to say this is going to be a peaceful protest? Put that club.
I think what happened was they got word that I got attacked, and then I don't have any control over what people do.
Well, because then let me tell you what happens next. Then the preacher in the blue gets bloodied. Then you have a random Latino bald dude with all the tats. He kind of had the story behind him is that he's recently sober, I don't know, and had a come to Jesus moment, but he still had, for lack of a better term, a gangbanger look. And he had these 2 beads. They looked like kokoi beads, from Hawaii or something. They were a type of rosary bead, and he was swinging them at one point. The footage is out there. He is the only one arrested, quite remarkably, because what's going to happen after 11:30 is a whole series of violence. But he's the only one who ever gets arrested. By 11:30, 11:45, I think, the further east, I think it's Coronado and Wilshire, but further east, there is a full-on standoff between people who were at least politically aligned with you. I don't know if you knew them or not, but at that point, were you there when you had some folks with a fuck Pedo Wood shirt, which was in black and gold. So some people are speculating that they were Proud Boys adjacent or Proud Boys. Do you know anything about, did you know that they were going to show up?
Yeah, I invited a lot of people. I said, tell these people, to everybody, the people that go to our protests. I know them. Those were just Save Our Children people. Like, that was like Weber's Way and like his party, Berto and them. Yeah, I know them. That happened. I think they were there at first. Okay, they had like a little fight thing going on over there, and then they came back to us because we were in MacArthur Park. We went after what happened to me, everything that chased us off in the car. We went to MacArthur Park to figure out what was going on. Oh my god! And we were calling people. They come over here, and then we got everyone that happened, and then they left. They got kicked out, and they came back to MacArthur Park. We were at MacArthur Park. We stayed there. We prayed at MacArthur Park for a little bit, and then we went back. And then some people, Sarah Stevens and them, they left. It was too dangerous. They went to go feed the homeless, and we went back, and Weber's Way and a bunch of other my friends, and we went back and we had like a thing over there. They fought my friend Mario. My friend Mario is gay. He had a rainbow flag. They tore his rainbow flag off of him. They attacked him with a pole, and then they hit my friend Angie in the head. And then what else happened? They attacked my other friend, and then I tried to help him. They attacked. What else happened? They were throwing bottles at us.
Right. So you weren't there. I know who I've seen at a Hollywood protest. Two of the right wing activists you're talking about, like Lucas and Angie. I've seen them before. I know who they are.
Yep.
I know the Save Our Children and but there's a difference between Save the Children and fuck Pedowood.
Fuck Pedowood. That was from the like Save Our Children rallies in Hollywood. We had like
That's right.
we had
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
In Hollywood, they
fuck
came out.
Pedowood because we're in Hollywood. Fuck Hollywood. Fuck Pedowood.
I remember seeing that video. But I mean, the thing that people are speculating, and look, I've been tough on them, and because as I said, they were there to fight. But when you come to 11:45, then you have what I would call not only the Antifa militant left, but then all these people that you're saying, some of them are militant right, including the person with the club. He is the most aggressive. In black bloc, he's dressed in black bloc, which is confusing. There are a couple of people, but in my video, he's kicking, and he then gets in another scuffle where he falls to the ground. So, and not necessarily.
He got attacked.
Well, the best way I would describe it at that point is mutual agreed combat in the street. That both sides, it looked like Portland. It was already too late. Is that what you're saying?
At that point, it was fight time. Yeah, it wasn't even supposed to be that way, but that's how it happened because of them. They made it that way. That's what they wanted. They just wanted fights. That's what they went for. Okay, by that time, it was like, let's go back and show them we're here.
And I'll just ask you this point.
But that was like
were there
thing.
Just in the interest of clarifying affiliations, were there Proud Boys that were involved in that group or your group?
I don't know. I don't know what people are affiliated with. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just asking. And then the other
whoever saw the flyer and wanted to come, they could have came. If they were on our side and not attack us.
If they were on your side, they could.
What was that?
Now, yeah, no, I understand what you said. You broke up a little, but you're saying if they were on your side, they could come. Is that what you were saying? Can you not hear? Have you cut out again? But
I was losing signal. I was kind of.
Okay, I understand. Now, there is something I got to get to with this because the idea. Remember, you're the organizer of this protest. I know you just said, well, by that point it's too late. Whoever wanted to fight could come. Well, is that such a good idea? And the reason that I ask is if somebody has a knife and
No. By that point, the whole fight part when we were in the street and people were fighting, by that point that was too late. Okay, people were already fighting, and that's what my friends. That's.
Sorry, you're breaking up, and
friend, you say he's aggressive. No, he was just defending himself. He was hit. Everything. Okay. Damn Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi. I think you were defending your friend, saying that my characterization of aggressive was not correct. Can you hear me? Looks like. I mean, we can continue this on audio if you want to call me. I don't know if that would be.
I'm good.
Point. Are you okay?
Is that better?
Well, yeah, I mean,
it says
okay.
I have 3-4 bars.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can wrap this up. I just want to get to I want to get to and this is where it gets dangerous. Is when you have unmeasured response. In other words, obviously, you getting attacked at the beginning was a disproportionate amount of force. You had 4 or 5 dudes all in black throwing you to the ground and kicking you and hitting and punching you. That is a disproportionate use of force, flat out. That's bad. That's dangerous. It's denounce. I would also argue that showing up with a knife is a disproportionate use of force. That having that knife there. Now you weren't
Who
there.
showed up with a knife?
Okay, so you weren't there at 11:45
Well,
five,
what
or
are you talking
just
about?
before that.
Which one are you talking?
So two people were stabbed, and
Which one are you talking about?
well,
I
two
heard. I know
people were.
that happened before.
Yeah.
That happened.
What I'm
That one
talking
happened
about.
whenever before they.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. That happened before they came back to MacArthur Park. Okay, you're confusing me now. Okay.
I'm confusing. The Wi-Fi is confusing us. Before it happened before you got to MacArthur Park. Yes, I'm just giving timestamps. So were you there at 11:45
Look,
when
the
they
knife
faced
part.
off?
The knife part. That probably happened because they heard what was going on. Okay, they're not gonna show up to a riot with nothing.
Okay. I I don't know that anyone should show up to a riot. that's that's my personal opinion. Now look.
Look, this was supposed to be a very peaceful protest. Sarah Stevens is going to talk. We're going to have speakers. Jason Lefkowitz is going to come speak. He helped us help organize the Dodger Stadium moment. It was going to be a beautiful ceremony, like a huge thing, and the news is going to cover us. And then these people ruined everything, everything, everything. They made it into such a very dark, evil event, and it was supposed to be a very loving, about the children, about women's rights, and then they were just yelling some nasty, horrible things. They're calling me indigenous. They're like, "Are you indigenous?" Making fun of me.
I saw them yelling racial slurs on the bullhorn to the black lady with the red shoes that was on the right wing. You know, the mob has never been tasteful in their in their slurs or defamations, and I would agree with that. I guess the questions that I've asked you have all centered around escalation and how these things escalate. They attack three people, then a guy comes, your colleague comes with the pipe, and so it's all that. Next thing you know, the preacher's bloodied, and then everybody's standing around facing off, throwing bottles at each other, and next thing you know, someone has a knife. Someone that was on the right wing took a knife out. He was dressed in black bloc, but inadvertently stabs another person that was a colleague, and a colleague of yours gets stabbed in the arm, and in the end, she's the one that's bleeding. They're in MacArthur Park, correct? Right now, in the
We
end.
were walking. They were walking. They were being like pushed away toward down Wall Street, MacArthur Park. Yeah,
And so she gets
but I know what you're
stabbed.
trying to say. I don't know. It's not. It's not. It's Antifa's fault. Okay, they were gonna show up. If anybody showed up like that, it was probably to be security. Okay, and that is probably why they were like that. I don't.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean
so
a
I don't know
knife.
what you're trying to say.
I'm saying that a knife, or God forbid, somebody shows up with a gun, is the last thing anybody wants. That this is, if this is supposed to be a peaceful and loving protest, there's a responsibility, a personal responsibility, not only by them but the organizer, you, to be honest about the failings and prevent that in the future. I'm asking if that is a reasonable point. You asked me what's my point. Is that a
There were
reasonable
no
point?
failings. The only thing that happened was Antifa took over the event, and then Antifa had an event, and it was an Antifa event, and that's why it was so violent and horrible.
Yeah, but Antifa did not draw the knife, and that is what I'm trying to say. That's very clear.
Knife.
Everybody's. I'm talking
You're
about
talking
the
about
knife.
one little thing out of a bunch of things that they did. They almost killed a bunch of people. They almost killed me. I thought they were gonna kill me. They
I'm not.
that Jesus
Do
got
not
all bloodied
mistake.
up. What the hell?
Do not mistake any of my questions for excusing what they do, because I certainly do not. And I have been outspoken against violence, and I'm outspoken about violence of any kind. But but I would just caution, because I don't like to see somebody get cut and somebody in a knife come out. And we need, as a society, to come up with ways where we can have these conversations, where we can talk. I appreciate you coming and talking to me. You and I don't agree on everything. And here we are. We're talking. And that's what we need to do as a society, is have these conversations, in my opinion. I don't excuse anything that they did. I've been very clear that they were the aggressors, that they attacked. And the brandishing, when it comes to brandishing knives and guns, I'll say this: I see that more on their side. I'm sorry, on your side, I'm going to rephrase that. When it comes to brandishing guns and knives, I have seen that more on. Now, again, that's because I'm saying up in Portland and all this other stuff. But I think the last thing people want is somebody to get shot and killed or stabbed and killed. And there's just been too much of this. And it's both sides that takes this to an extreme. And LA, for the most part, has avoided
No.
this.
We're very peaceful, very peaceful. These people came and they riled everybody up. They made everybody scared and pissed off, and they were like, "What's going to happen at this event?" And that's why people maybe looking like that. Maybe they had self like something to protect themselves with. Okay, because this was going to be a very nice event, and then these people released this very scary looking flyer, and then people were like, "Oh hell no!" And then people were already planning. People were excited for this. They were very excited for this. Okay, they had. I know a friend who made a sign. It was a very nice, beautiful sign. She made it. She was going to dress up everything, and then she couldn't even come. It's too dangerous. She saw everything online, and she's like, "I'm not going."
I am for free speech. I think you should be allowed to protest peacefully, and even if people don't agree with your rhetoric, you and I don't agree. We in this conversation several times, that's been. But I still believe in your right to say it, and I think that the truth. No one person holds the truth. I think it's always held in between different points of view. So I am not. I am in support of your right to protest. I am also decidedly against violence and against people bringing guns and knives to these things, and even pepper spray for that matter. I understand that people need to defend themselves,
I
but
bring pepper spray everywhere I go. That has nothing to do with bringing it to the protest. I walk around, I have pepper spray, okay, because people hate me. They've been for years. Okay, this isn't the first thing. I've had another thing happen where people were hating me. I had this whole following that they canceled me on. They hated me. They hated the fuck out of me. So I always carry pepper spray with me everywhere I go, and I've had to use it for self-defense. It had nothing to do with taking it to the protest. It's taking it with me anywhere I'm going.
I see. Okay. No, I take you at your word. I believe you. And certainly I would not disagree that conservatives are targeted right now, especially in big cities on the West Coast. And that is something that I have witnessed. And I can give that, I can testify to that. I've seen it. I've seen people get attacked unilaterally just for not having the same belief as someone else does, And not only if you disagree completely, but even people, they'll eat their own. They'll attack people on the left because it's not enough just to agree. You have to agree on every word. You have to agree in every single way and check every single box. And then you can't even do what I'm doing right now. This is a heresy. I'm talking to you. I can't do that. And if you don't check all those boxes and fall exactly in line, you can get attacked, sometimes physically, and it's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And whereas on one respect, you and I don't agree on everything. I agree that you should have the right to say it and should be able to stand in the public square and express your right, your First Amendment rights, to say what you want to say, to stand for what you want to stand for, and at the very least have that discussion. So you will never hear me disagree or withdraw my support for you to say what you want to. And I hope that these events, political races and upcoming, you just think on a national level, we have to endure new elections, sometimes every 2 years, and we have to deal with each other. And I hope that it's not with knives and it's not with guns and fists and so forth.
We're showing up at people's events and attacking everybody.
Yeah, no.
Attacking peaceful protesters. It was peaceful. Everybody was so peaceful and happy, and then these people come, bam, 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 horrible things. They're laughing, having these scary laughs. They're like witches laughing and attacking, and then taking away a gay person's gay flag because they don't agree with you, then attacking them with the pole.
There were easily, I witnessed a dozen attacks that originated from SoCal
I didn't even
Antifa.
count. It was so many. I didn't even
Yeah,
count them. I
there were
don't even.
so many. There were so many, and I from the right, I witnessed the one attack that we talked about at 10:30, and then I witnessed, um, I witnessed one person who was attacked, but I got in the aftermath, so I don't know. That was on Wilshire on the north
What did you
side.
do? Did you attack anybody? You were
What
a photographer. You
do I
were one of the
attack anyone?
photographers.
I'm a
You were there,
photographer.
like taking
Yeah,
pictures of everybody and stuff, and doing stuff and taking pictures, or
I'm
what were
a,
you doing?
I'm a, I'm an independent photographer. So when you
What
see
did you
me,
do? Were you covered up in black?
no, I was not in black. If you look at me in the video, I'm wearing flip flops, shorts, and a blue T-shirt that said Tonya, Tonya is a Nicaraguan beer. And I would every once in a while take a light blue mask, which was a covered California mask, and every once in a while, and if I feared that they were going to attack me, at times they called me a chud streamer and tried to turn on me, and I said, "This is my community. I live here." And at times I would take the blue mask and put it on if I felt that I was in danger of, because what I do is very hard because I try to document and call Antifa out for what they do. So, and I do it without dressing in black. I used to dress in black last
You should
year.
cover up, because if you're gonna do
No,
that, just go undercover.
I know. I did that last year, and I'm tired of hiding. I think our political discourse needs fewer people dressed in black. That's what we need is
Yeah,
people
that
to,
was. I was like, what the? I've never seen all those people in black like that. They came one
eh,
time at Dodger Stadium. It was just like a little bob of them. This was like 20 times what Dodger Stadium was. It was so many of them. It was like so many. They were fighting the police.
this is the most. We never had this in LA. It was always very small and fringe.
Yeah,
When I w-
LAPD said I just went there. They said they've never seen this. They've witnessed Antifa, the Black Bloc people. They've witnessed them before, but they've never seen them do this before. That's what they were saying. They were just like they've never seen it.
yeah, it was so different than the last times that I marched uh, within that group. I was not covered. I was wearing a blue shirt. I don't dress in black bloc now because again, it's I don't I think we need to sort of these crowds I don't want them to become a normal thing. I saw this in Hollywood. They jumped a conservative reporter and he was dressed in black bloc. And this is where we get into just more people dressed in black. When you look at this video, there are so many people dressed in black on their side, but then on the right wing, they had, there were people that were dressed in black there. And then it gets confusing. And then next thing you know, somebody in black has just slashed the arm of somebody else and they're on the same side. And this is and apparently someone else was slashed too. It's a bad situation. It was worse than anything I've seen in LA. There was different things. I saw Santa Monica get ransacked on May 31st. I was there for that, and I watched and documented as businesses were burned, as windows were smashed out. On Fairfax on May the 30th, police cars were burned. Businesses were burned on Melrose. So I think we need to figure out a way to say enough, talk about the issues, de-escalate the violence, and make sure that Los Angeles doesn't turn into Portland where you have all-out street warfare. And the best way to do that is, you have the right, you're constitutionally protected to speak your views.
Yeah, I want to
But
say yesterday I was out trying to get signatures for Sarah Stevens, and I had a hat on, and I saw a bunch of people from back coming, and I got really scared. I really did. I think I have PTSD because they were coming up. They were just wearing black. I was hiding. I got really scared. I don't know what the hell these people. They're out here, and then today on the train, I saw everybody, and I was like, "Were these people there? Were they all covered up in black? I don't know what they even look like."
No.
So
Well,
I don't
look,
know.
what
That's why I'm saying you have to go to the police, try to report these people, try to see what they look like, lock them up. And
what happened to you should never happen. We're in the United States of America in 2021, and it's just, regardless of anybody's political views, I support the right for them to stand on a street corner and do what they do. I don't like to see the American flag burned. But you know what? They have the right to do that and not get beaten up, and they get away with that, you know. And so they should respect other people's rights, you know. And again, I love this country, and I don't support people doing that. But because we are such a free country, and because the Constitution protects us, we are extremely lucky to be living here and have the rights that we do when you compare it to the rest of the world. So I don't like to see this happen, and I will continue to speak out and to speak out against, the what you mentioned is tyranny, and certainly the way you were treated and how things escalated shouldn't be happening. And I also would caution and warn, that escalation and violence breeds more violence, and
yeah,
retaliation breeds more retaliation. And so, if I were to hopefully, reach out to those who are aligned to you, I'd say, please don't bring frickin' knives, and figure out another way. Because
don't come here putting signs saying you're gonna attack people who come because they're intolerant, this and that. Okay, just don't do that. Don't go to people's events and attack people showing up. Don't go take over their event and all these things. That was not even. It was supposed to be a very happy, peaceful protest. We're gonna have signs in the front. People were gonna speak. My friends were gonna speak. It was gonna be nice. The media was gonna cover us, not them. And then it became this whole disgusting thing. Everyone's mad now. They're like, who organized shithole? Who organized this crap? And then I'm just like, oh. And that's my friends, people I know. They're mad. Like, what happened? They're mad.
this is what I'm going to go to a viewer comment really quick. This viewer says, "I'd guess the right tends to be the one brandishing weapons because they feel like they're outnumbered, hence more likely to be targets." Do you agree with that?
They're more likely to be targets. Yeah, much more likely. Here in LA, it's like you have to be like very careful. Okay, you can't just be like what we do. There's a time and place for that, and that was the time and the place to go over there and protest and be all okay. But then besides that, you have to be careful because you have to be careful. But yes.
Well, my advocacy is for cooler heads prevailing on all sides. I do think that what we saw is illiberal. It is. We should all speak out against it. As far as you had the right to be there, you were attacked. Anything that escalates, I mean, de-escalate is the that's what technically the radical leftists that we've been seeing. De-escalation was supposed to be the buzzword. Certainly during the George Floyd protests back in May, that the criticism was that police do not de-escalate enough. Well, my challenge is to anybody who is an adherent of SoCal Antifa: why are you the escalators? Why are you the aggressors? Why do you attack people for just showing up in the public square? Because you are not de-escalating. You're doing the opposite. And violence is only going to breed more violence, as we've seen. In Portland, somebody was shot and killed, by an Antifa adherent, someone who was Patriot aligned. They were shot and killed, and it was covered very little. And at the end of the day, mobs can escalate on either side, and we all have to play our part in.
Well, what do you do when you're being attacked by a bunch of people? What do you do? And the police aren't helping you.
What do you do? I mean, do you run? Do you let the punches fall? Do you try to talk to them? Do you
They were
try
running.
to?
They were being chased too. There's a video of someone trying to run away. They're being chased and being grabbed. They were chasing us away and trying to chase to us. They weren't even chasing us away. They were chasing to us and trying to get to us to hurt us even more.
I mean, we get as independent press, and there are a few of us. There are very few of us who are nonpartisan press. I'd say of the people I know, there's 3 others that are definitively nonpartisan. We don't work for a right or left organization. Some of these guys have been on my show before. My audience knows who they are. There are a couple of us, and we all talk about this a lot. It's one of my friends, known as BG on the scene, was attacked in Detroit by leftists that found out that he, like me, as independent journalists, were in Washington, D.C. on January the 6th, documenting just like we do, regardless of it's the right or the left or who's doing what. We're there. It's important to have independent voices that are there watching. We know that we could be a target too. So the question that you asked me, well, what do you do? I ask myself that because in some ways I wonder if it's a matter of time before it happens to me. It hasn't happened to me yet for whatever reason. It did happen to my friend BG on the scene, as I said, but I don't know what you do. And certain publications put a target on our back just for documenting, because the ideology is that I don't have the right, just like you don't have the right to show up there and voice your views and hold your signs. I don't have the right to film what they're doing according to them. And they have their own press, so to speak, people who will do exactly what they want and put out the video that they want put out. In my video, I have 3 or 4 in all of my shots, Antifa aligned press. These are people I know and I argue with on Twitter all the time. I know who they are. They're Antifa aligned press. They're in my video. They have released none of the video in which they are filming the Black Bloc's SoCal Antifa people attacking. They released none of it. They released only the video of the right wing facing off with the left at the end, and they're the ones who point out the knife and all this stuff and fixate on that. So I understand your resistance and your desire to defend yourself. Again, my position, let's not have this place turn into Portland. I don't want that violence there, and I hope that we can, people can work together to figure out, to make sure that doesn't happen. But, these aren't journalists on the other side. These are people who show up and they're recording, and they're in my video. I see that they're recording, but they don't post the video if it's their side as the aggressors. They self-censor it. They don't release it. Sorry?
Yeah.
What was that?
Somebody was taking pictures of my friend and hitting them at the same time. Like, and taking more pictures while they're hitting. It was a photographer. Somebody dressed like a photographer.
Yeah. Someone says, this is interesting. Someone says, same commenter says, there was a vid by Jeremy where a guy is telling cops to put barricades between them and the protesters. That's a good idea. Do you wish you had worked more with police beforehand to coordinate this?
I emailed them like 4 days in advance, sent them screenshots of threats, sent them screenshots of the Antifa flyers. I said, these people are coming, please come. You guys need to be there to keep the peace, literally. And then the day before, I called to make sure, because my friend Sarah Stevens running for governor going to be there. I called. I said, hey, this is happening. I emailed you guys. There's a governor turnout. Sarah Stevens is going to be there. She's running for governor. I need you guys to be there. And then they're like, we're not sure if we're going to be there when it starts, but give us a call if there's any violence. That's what they said. I was like, we're aware. They said that they're aware of the event and that they will monitor it. And that's what they're going to monitor it. Just watch it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was in contact with them. I was working with them. I was. And then my other friend said that he called the police too about the stuff too, because they were threatening, because he saw the threats. They were threatening a bunch of people online, and so my other people were reporting it too. It wasn't just me, but I was trying to work with them.
They probably didn't know or expect, because when I've seen Antifa block, it's been up in Tahunga. What happened was that back in, I guess it was August or July, there were face-offs up in the valley and on Tahunga, and people would stay on opposite side of the streets, and then they'd come into the middle of the street, and sometimes there was a little pushing and shoving and so forth, but it was nothing like what we saw. There were some people in Black Bloc, but it was always only just a handful. Nothing like this. So I don't know if police expected or it was beyond their imagination that this new account from 2 months ago, SoCal Antifa, would be the real deal and would materialize. And we saw that it did. It did exactly what we've seen in Portland and Washington State. And now California has, I guess, its own, well, we've always had it also up in Sacramento. Berkeley and
Well,
Antifa, Berkeley Antifa and Antifa Sacramento. But this is the furthest south. There's minor presence in San Diego, but this is the first time you saw a full force mobilization in Los Angeles like this, where the citizenry was unilaterally attacked between 9:44 when you were attacked a.m. and 10:30. Before the right, started getting involved as well, which again I would caution against. If there's any other questions here, let me see. This is interesting. Someone asks, as an activist, do you think, do activists think Antifa is valuable to their cause? I think is what the question is. I don't know how people, for example, well, let's return to something. The first woman who took the trans woman who took your signs.
Jamie
Jamie
Lee Penn.
Jamie, yes.
Lee Penn. Let me say, she says she's an elected official. She's elected official at real Jamie Penn, 2 N's, PENN.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, and I know you're. I just want to give a caution when everybody names somebody's contact information. This is a live stream. I can't control what you say, but I will say. Now you've just told, but no, I will say to the audience that that I even invite her to come on to my podcast, because this podcast is about talking to everybody. So no, I do.
Don't bring her.
Well, Jairo, I trust me. I don't pull. I'm not a softballer. I will ask the hard questions.
Okay, she probably won't. She's crazy.
Well, I'm just saying. I just want to give a word to the audience, as this is a live stream and I don't censor anybody. I do want to say on this live stream, and it's important to say so, that if somebody's information is read, as you just did, I can't prevent you from doing that, but I do request respectful conversation. And my question to Jamie is I asked her, do you denounce violence? I said, I saw 3 people get jumped. What she said to me is, well, if you're coming to an anti-fascist event, I wouldn't want to tangle with anti-fascists, is what she said. So she was very...
It was a children's and women's event.
Well, I said to her, this was an 11 a.m. event? And her answer to me was, well, we scheduled it before that. We're the counter protest. And I got confused. I said, okay, yeah, you're the counter protest, but there's a protest. So why can't the counter protest be on one side and then the protest be on one side?
She's been arrested before. She's not. She was arrested outside Mayor Garcetti's house. I saw a story.
I could tell she wasn't being 100% honest with me. I would talk to her more, and I would press her even further, because she was being disingenuous in a sense when she answered me. She said her answer to me on my live stream. I took it live and I interviewed her on Saturday. This would have been somewhere around 10:15 a.m. It would have been around 11 a.m. And so at the time I was interviewing her was probably why I missed the preacher getting bloodied up in the blue shirt, because I was interviewing her. It was very weird, because they saw me approaching to ask for an interview, and a couple of the Antifa guys were like, what do you want? kind of thugged up to me and stuff. And white boy thugged up to me. I just want to make that clear. I'm not using thug as a derogatory towards any people of color. But they did. They just kind of gave me some attitude, like what? And I was like, no, I'm just going to ask her a couple questions. And hey, I wanted to interview you. And I had a respectful conversation, but it became clear that I wasn't getting the whole truth. Now, I would press her further, especially if she is an elected official. I saw that our bio said something about Koreatown Council. She did say something like that to me. Well, guess what? That means she represents my community where I live in Los Angeles. So I would insist, and I have the right to insist, that she answers a couple of questions as a constituent, which would be, do you denounce violence as used in the public square? Do you denounce it 100% as I am her constituent? So I have the right to have that conversation with her and hold her accountable, not only for how you were attacked, because then she, in our conversation,
Okay, bring her on and tell her everything and let her come on here and make herself look dumb, please.
Well, I am here not to, with any intent to make anybody look anything, but to have a conversation. And certainly I think she needs to be held accountable and challenged. Listen, I asked you the same. She was one of, you're the organizer on one side. She was, from what we could see, the most visible organizer on Saturday of the Antifa aligned protest, and so she did not disclose that you got beat up when I talked to her. I said I saw 3 people just get beat up when I spoke with her. Well, 2 of them, and then the third one just was pushed around, but then he later got bloodied. And as I was talking to her, that preacher with the blue shirt was getting beat up in that melee. So she wasn't being honest with me, and her words to me were, well, we got here first, and it's the law, and so it's the law, and we got here first. Well,
yeah, we were across the street.
Yeah, and I asked her, I said, well, don't they have the constitution? If you have the constitutional right to use whatever public, bathroom or space that you want, do they have the constitutional right to use whatever public space they want to say what they want to say? That's my question for you, Jamie. You didn't answer it. Jamie, you did not answer it when I asked it before. And you have to, if you are a public official, then I, as your constituent, need to know your response to that question. If you are going to represent me, then I want you to represent people who have a right to be there without getting beaten up. And it's disingenuous to say, well, we got there first, so I wouldn't want to be in a path of an anti-fascist. It's a pretty fascist rationale, Jamie. Yeah, no. So look, Jamie, you're welcome to come on this story. We've talked before. I soft pedaled and I softballed. If you're ready to answer the hard questions, Jairo, I respect you for coming on, because I'm a very thorough interviewer, so I understand. I ask all the questions, so I understand you coming on and being willing to have this conversation and giving me your honest answers. As things go forward, I want everybody to be safe and de-escalate any sort of conflict. And as I said, I don't want to see Los Angeles turn into Portland. So, I'd like to thank the audience for being here today. Is there anything else you'd like to say on your way out? Is that your Instagram handle there? Right.
That's my Instagram, and also I'm on Getter now, Real Jairo, because it might take me off Instagram. They took off like 3 of my pictures already, so just follow me on Getter if you can. Real Jairo, Real Jairo.
Okay, and that. All right, so we give everybody a chance to speak and stay in and say their piece and on this show, and I appreciate you coming on. This is the Unblocked Podcast, the Anti-Polarization Podcast. My guest today has been Jairo, Real Jairo, and thank you for joining us. And it's an exhausting conversation, and I know you've been a lot. There's one question I forgot to ask, which is just how are you physically?
Physically?
Yeah, I mean, are you?
I still have some pain. The most pain I have is on my lower back. I have this mark over here somewhere. It used to be really bad.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, and that was from being kicked, or what?
Yeah, and if I'm standing or walking too long, the pain on my lower back hurts a lot, and if I sit down, it feels better. So hopefully that goes away. I have pain on my lower calf. I have like a giant thing right here too.
Gotcha.
At least I'm alive. At least they weren't stabbing me while I was on the ground.
Hey, hopefully nobody is stabbing anybody at any of these political events. We should be able to have these conversations. I denounce and speak out against all violence. And what's that?
Yeah, just don't show up at an event and take it over. And then just don't show up at people's events, take it over, act like it's your event, and then attack people trying to show up to the actual event and just be horrible. Don't do that. and stop being Antifa. Just stop it. Just, yeah.
Well, you've said your piece. I again appreciate the conversation and stand against violence, and that should never happen to anybody. What happened to you? So thank you again for being my guest today. To the audience,
Thanks.
please. Follow the cast on youtube.com/unblockedlive or on Twitter at jleequinn. And also, I'm now on Facebook. I have a Jeremy Lee Quinn Facebook, so it's facebook.com/Jeremy Lee Quinn. If anybody wants to connect with me on Facebook, you can just add me there. So, and this is, that's the candidate that
Sarah Stevens.
you're an advocate for. Now, are you working
Make
for
California gold again.
the what is it called? Make California what?
MakeCaliforniaGoldAgain.com.
Gold.
Make
Again.
California gold again.
Gotcha. And so the candidate that you're representing, are you involved officially with the campaign?
Yes, I'm here to
Okay.
volunteer. I help with everything else that they need. I help organize everything with the protests and stuff.
I see. All right. Well, thanks for being our guest, and thanks for saying your piece. And everybody, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.